Hello and welcome to episode 43 of Bradders Grappers. I am joined once again by my unofficial co-host and my spare unofficial co-host, as we have both Sam from Ramblin about wrestling, and also we have Myles Smith. Good evening.
Good evening. That was a bit loud, that applause.
I, oh, it's all right. I played a sound effect earlier, and Sam nearly fell off his chair because it was so loud. So, which is
Honest.
always a joy. So yes, we are all gathered here today, not for a wedding, but for the latest installment from Catch Pro Wrestling, as we had Gimme Danger, the big show at Gorilla in Manchester, in what was an absolute sauna in Manchester on Bank Holiday Monday. Thankfully, though, we stayed nice and cool because Gorilla was not just the nicest venue, but was the coolest venue, probably figuratively and literally, in Manchester. Some of us got there on time. Myles,
Yeah.
you had a fun journey, I heard.
Yeah, it was great.
We'll just
Really
leave it there
enjoyed it.
then.
Really enjoyed being an hour late to the show. It wasn't an hour late, but my train was an hour late. I was about, I'd say 40 minutes late.
You only missed kind of like 3/4 of well, not even the opening match, the pre-match,
The
the
pre-show.
pre-show, as it was called, and that is exactly where we will begin. As we had the Enigma Series gauntlet match. So the rules was two men start off, and I believe you could easily win before anyone else came out. Which, I mean, I'm trying to think of the other match I know that's similar to that. But that's all semantics no one needs to know. So we started off with entrant number one being Najay and entrant two being Scotty Rock. So we start off with Najay getting in some quick offense. Scotty grabbing Najay by the unmentionables, which, I mean, it slowed him down because he was all over the place in this match, whether it was chops or just fast-paced offense. So, in fairness, so was Rock. But we then had entrant number three, which was Adam Bolt. Bolt hits the ring, hits his leaping outside back to the inside code breaker on Scotty Rock. Follows it up with a step-up stunner on Najay, using Scotty as pretty much a step. Then hits a running shooting press, or shooting star press. Rock then hits a moonsault off the ropes, intending to hit Bolt, but misses and gets Najay. And we then get the next entrant in, which was a mystery, as we had Dynamite Lee Dawson. Dawson hits a twisting neck breaker on Nadjas with a senton splash on Adam Bolt. Rock lands a massive chop on Lee, which reverberates around Gorilla. Dynamite, though, hits a Saito suplex, and we are joined by Mr. Catch himself, Danny Proper, as Danny hits a fallaway slam on Najee and Bolt. Meanwhile, we have Dawson and Rock on the outside fighting near the bar and also within the crowd. We get then everyone back in the ring, or at least within it, as we see rivals in Proper and Rock almost forming an alliance. But I call it a black mass kick. There is another term for it, but I'm sticking with that.
Blackout.
We'll go with that. By Rock as he hits Najee with Proper just avoiding contact. This is where this match truly picks up, as the final entrant is that of sexy Kevin Lloyd. And my notes say the next 2 minutes are arguably the most incredible action you'll get anywhere. As Lloyd enters with sunglasses, hits numerous German suplexes, I should say, on everyone, ending with a double suplex on both Rock and Proper. Bolt ruins the fun because it's Bolt. Najee hits a ripcord clothesline on Adam Bolt, then hits a sit-down slam. We then have a spinning rack slam by Dawson to Najee. Najee then hits his rope-assisted Canadian Destroyer. A top rope jumping cutter from Bolt to Najee. Then Lloyd gets behind Bolt and hits a bridging German suplex to win. Your winner is sexy Kevin Lloyd. You know what? On this occasion, we will ask Myles because he didn't see too much.
I think you can go to me straight away because all I saw was the end of it. As soon as I walked in, I walked into Gorilla and then I seen Adam Bolt trying to pin. Who was he trying to pin? I think it was the end of the match. So I got in as Adam Bolt was trying to steal a pinfall. Kev Lloyd comes up behind him and literally just German suplexes the shit out of Adam Bolt, and then that's all I saw from that match. Just Kev Lloyd picking up a win and then just dancing away to Elton John.
As you do, as one does.
5-star match from what I saw for the 10 seconds that I saw.
Pretty much this card was a banger throughout. One thing we forgot to say was our fourth member of the team. And that's Bolton John. John, how are we doing today?
Hello. Yeah, very happy to be back by hopefully popular demand, and now in much better audio quality, so you can hear all my rubbish takes much clearer and much nicer.
So, talking of takes, what was your view on the Scramble match?
Yeah, very fun opener. A great big showcase for all the talents who held up the Red Hot shows throughout the tournament, and it got the crowd hyped up really well. Everyone got like a little bit of a showcase moment, including like surprisingly Lee Dawson, who it's nice to see back in Catch after being away for the last few shows for whatever reason in particular. But obviously this was Kev Lloyd's show, and he stole it amazingly with that extended little entrance section. It's exceptional stuff from him, and he rightly got the win to cap off this little losing run he's been on for most of 2026, so he can kick on from there. But yeah, it was good. Folks like Danny and AJ, they'll still be around and such, but I'd be happy to keep Adam Bolt around Catch, despite, all the things he says and does generally. and I hope this isn't the last we see of Scotty for now that he's no longer Northwest based and such. He's kind of been, since the reboot, he's been very much the heart and soul of Catch, so he'd very much be missed.
Sam, seeing as you're the only person to actually talk about.
So this match, I really, again, as John just said, I really loved how each of the competitors who was in the tournament at the Red Art shows got their own moments. I liked how, even though this was just like a fun opening contest, they still remembered Catch's history. Like we had Scotty Rourke and Danny Proper, they had a brief team up, but then quickly Proper turned back on Rourke, harkening back to their history and the Grimsby Rules match with the barbed wire skateboard. So, and it was also a really just nice bow on what was a really good tournament. And to echo what John said, I do hope we see more of Najay and Adam Bolt in Catch, and that this tournament wasn't just a one time for them, because both of them have really acclimated to the Catch stage really well and integrated themselves into the ecosystem. I'm talking them like they're bugs. But yeah,
so we've gone from trains on the last episode to now bugs.
Yeah, the analogies are really fine-tuned tonight.
Someone's been watching Discovery or
Blue Planet.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the opener. However, the main opener on Gimme Danger was the Enigma Series final, as the leading man, Tony Wright, took on the Watcher, Keenan Krishna. And let's get to the notes, shall we? So both men trade punches at the beginning. Tony hitting a flying clothesline and hits a claim to fame very much in probably the first 40 seconds. Keenan rolls out, though, to prevent taking a pinfall. The fight spills to the outside, even going as far as up on the stage. Tony looks to try and hit a second claim to fame, but Krishna forces Wright into the ropes in an ugly tangle, seemed to go face first into it. Keenan then takes over, ripping at the face of Tony, as those gloves play a vital role in his kind of what he's doing in this match. We see a running drop kick that connects to the back of Tony Wright. Keenan begins to work on the body of the leading man. Tony looks to start a comeback, but he's yanked off the middle rope by Krishna. The Watcher then lands a running side knee into the body of Tony. Harlem slam by Tony Wright with a takedown punches. We then see Krishna hitting a springboard forearm to regain control. Tony then hits a emerald flosion, or flusion, depending on how you want to call it. Sees a forward slam off Brett's rope. A gnarly landing for Tony. A Death Valley driver connects from Keenan, but can only get two. Wright then connects with a super kick that sends Krishna going over the top rope. Tony grabs him, throws him back into the ring. hits a second claim to fame to win the Enigma series and have Tony Wright as your winner. Does anyone want to come in, or shall we ask John?
Go with a John.
Yeah, John's always a good shout.
John, as you're the oracle, or you're the best person. I know I froze. There we go. Back in the room. John, what was your take on this match?
Yeah, great match, as to be expected from these two at this point. I did initially think it was a little strange to put it on so early in the card, but I kind of realised that it probably rightly clocked that the other story-heavy matches later down the card had a lot more hype and anticipation around them in the room specifically, and smartly decided they'll put it on early doors when the crowd was still fresh and excited and not quite burnt out yet, which did become a bit of an issue later on down the line. I don't think it's controversial to suggest that Keenan has been probably the stealth MVP of Catch since his return, at least match-wise anyway. His matches have all been really engaging as this vicious, nasty little bruiser who's good at picking opponents apart in this very intense manner, which makes him a perfect complement to someone like Tony, and this match very much proved that. It's very obvious after this result where this is going. This Catch now being the third Northwest company who are likely to run Oberman versus Wright as a title program, but hey, it was good the last two times, so I'm happy for a third one.
Anyone piggyback off that?
Well, John, after that, I wonder who's going to win the title match later on. It's a total mystery now.
I mean, it didn't actually say following the result. At that time, it was going to be Oberman and Wright. So he is correct in his way of thinking.
In the John way.
Yes, in the John way.
I will say, with this match, it sort of felt like the end of a chapter for me personally, because my first Cat show was Hostile, where this rivalry started with Keenan having that match where Oberman seemingly retired, and then 2 hours later comes out of retirement to attack Wright. So it sort of felt like from when I first got into Catch to now, it feels like the end of season one. You know, the big story is coming to an end and it's set up for the next season. And we're going to see a trend here where I think half of this card could main event and has a really solid case for main eventing. Not just the stipulation or, you know, titles being on the line or history, but just in general quality. Half the card has a case to be put on last, and this is the first one of this instance. We're going to see the others when I'll say when I think they had a case for it. But yeah, just really great match overall. You know, obviously we'd already seen the opener, but for Myles, this was his opener, so I want to know what Myles thinks about this.
I thought it was a really, really good, strong first match. Tony Wright coming in fired up, hitting the claim to fame within the first 5 seconds of the match, while Krishna still got his trench coat on, was a really cool cinematic to see. Seeing the babyface hit first is always cool to see. I thought the whole story of the match, it was Keenan's aggressive side getting the worst of him. Tony Wright, throughout this match, he stayed focused on the match. He stayed focused on the task of winning the Enigma series. I enjoyed the whole aspect of brawling on the stage as well, using the environment around him. So, yeah, it was really cool. Surprised Keenan didn't have any of his Northwest Strong members in the audience with him.
Mm.
No Chris or Teddy, which I feel like if Keenan had Chris and Teddy with him on that bank holiday Monday, I think Keenan would have won the match.
The thing I'd say on that, if it's still going, I imagine still going off Enigma series rules, then well, it wouldn't have made any difference anyway. If they'd got involved, he would have been disqualified. So it would still would have been the same result.
I think
Um,
they would have been good mind games for Tony to have both Chris and Teddy out there. I feel like they would have been a good distraction.
yeah, especially as like the last couple of shows, it's if you take him away the Enigma series, it was kind of like Ridgeway. Even at the start of the year at the with intent at the anniversary show, it was Teddy Ray that cost Right victory when it was Northwest Strong against Right and Proper. So it kind of would have brought everything in a nice little bow. Um, Personally, I really enjoyed the match. It got the crowd well and truly kind of even more pumped up. Because again, it's like we were talking about the future shot. The opening, it seems to be a case of you want to be the opening match or the main event. Anything in between kind of can easily get lost in the shuffle. But if you're the opening match, people will remember it because it's how the show started with you. And if it's the main event, it's going to be the last thing people remember. So, but yeah, it was a really good contest. Keenan impresses me more and more, but definitely more when I see him in catch. Uh, I think he suits the more, say, grittier style than you'd get on kind of like family friendly shows. Um, but I think this is definitely up both people's alley, to put it one way. But yeah, I really enjoyed this contest, and it set a good tone for what we would see for the rest of the card. Uh, Match number 2. Uh, Lucy Sky taking on L.A. Taylor. This was one match that was added very late to this Gimme Danger card. However, it did not disappoint at all. It was an absolute cracker in its own way. So, notes I have, which is not particularly too many. Lucy gets the first punch in and is very proud of herself. However, uh, L.A. Taylor is not any person. She very quickly shrugs that off, puts Lucy in an airplane spin, but then we get a big boot from Taylor, who hits a running squash into the second rope. Taylor slams and then does a little shimmy. Match goes to the outside with Lucy Sky sending L.A. Taylor face first into the ring post, then connects with a clothesline off the ropes to see Lucy in control. Lucy goes for a pin attempt and has the chant of "To see Sky," which gets well and truly under her skin and is is not shy to show her feelings towards certain members of the crowd, uh, particularly us, making the chant. Taylor reverses a run, and Taylor reverses a run, going into the ropes by landing a spine buster, followed by a Samoan drop. Lucy hits a running spear for to see Sky. Um, chance again aimed at Lucy, and she shoots the double bird at us both, or three of us. Taylor has Lucy in a crossface and has Lucy tapping out, to which we think she's won until Greenwood notices that Sky's foot is under the ring rope, and so the win is null and void. From there, we see Lucy Sky attacking LA Taylor from behind, finishing her off with a big knee to the face. And Lucy Sky wins this fun little contest, but not before she shows us her middle fingers yet again. Should we ask John's opinion first?
Yeah.
I think we will.
Yeah, another good match. Lucy Sky, a favourite with the Catch Faithful every time she's on a show, admittedly for reasons she's probably not that happy about. But she was on fine form in that regard, and was giving back as good as she got from the crowd, to the point where it did feel like Taylor could have realistically done nothing the entire match, and she'd still have been the most beloved person in the room. But fortunately, Taylor did plenty here, and she and Lucy had a fun, punchy, big bruising matchup that was quite fun. I do feel like Taylor has found herself a second home up north here, so hopefully we'll see her again soon. And hopefully Lucy will be back too, if only because we'd miss giving her shit, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, fair comment. Myles, we'll come to you first.
I thought it was a very entertaining match. Two of the strongest women in catch just going toe to toe. LA showing a height difference and just absolutely dominating majority of the match. Lucy coming back fired up after us giving her shit all match long. Interesting ending to the match with James Greenwood basically assisting Sky, which a lot of us called bullshit on because Sky now resigning from Liverpool and
Yeah.
Mr. James Greenwood, who we all know is from Liverpool, so
No.
we all deemed that as a cheeky little assist for Greenwood. But yeah, overall it was a nice clash between two of the strongest women in Catch Pro, and hopefully LA comes back because I would gladly take LA Taylor as Catch Women's Champion.
Sam?
Yeah, same thing as Myles. I completely agree. Like, if this clash took place at, let's say, Italy for whatever reason, maybe LA Taylor would have been awarded the victory. Hint, hint. As to similar things that went down this weekend. But yeah, this was, aside from the ending, which I feel like was just there to set up another match, even though I would take another match with these two because this was a good clash. It didn't really need that, but um, yeah, this was a really entertaining contest. Glad to have Tusi Sky back. Uh, Back in catch. She was really missed in the Red Arch series, so to have her fit again is really good. And yeah, just a really good contest. I feel like this is one of those matches that is going to help expand the women's division back up to what it was before the hiatus at catch. So hopefully we get a deeper women's division soon, because yeah, I would, again with Myles, I would also take LA Taylor as catch women's champion because she's really great and is really imposing force.
It's like I said, I really enjoyed the contest. There we go.
I wondered why you went 4x3. Now it looks like you're in the army.
I know. I was thinking that.
Look like you're in Blackadder.
Oh well. But yeah, that was again. This match seemed to just kind of like look to outdo the match previous. And I'd say a lot of them were on the same level, really. They're all really good matches. There's not really a bad match. There's one we'll come to later on that I've now had kind of like a difference of a opinion, so to speak. As I change, now I look like a bank robber. But we come to our next contest, which was a pure rules match between Declan McCarthy and Henry Faust. So, pure rules, you have 3 rope breaks, and you are not allowed to use a closed fist. And I think you get one public, one public warning. I should know this because I used to watch Ring of Honor quite a lot. But I haven't watched a pure rules match for a long time. And as you can see, Sam wearing the 1 point Declan shirt, that being, of course, due to McCarthy scoring or needing 1 point to have won the Enigma Series. Sorry, he got the 1 point. He needed 2 to qualify. He didn't.
Yeah, they won't let me put wanker on the shirt.
I mean, you want to get your head punched, but you don't want to get beaten up. So probably not the best idea. Note time. Beforehand, Sam here antagonizes Deck with the 1 point Declan shirt and gets a mouthful from the Northern Irishman. Declan close fists Henry in the face. Then Faust returns the favour and sees Ref Liam giving a public warning to both men. Then we get actually into the meat of this match as both men burn an early rope break. Deck being very creative to have Faust use his second rope break as he places his opponent's leg on the rope, looking like he was trying to get out of it. This kind of throws Faust off his game for a minute or two. Deck then throws those nasty uppercuts. Meanwhile, Henry uses the forearm strikes as both men just pretty much perform strikes on each other. McCarthy then puts Faust in some really awkward, nasty, you could say, submission holds. Tries to bend the leg back where it really shouldn't. Puts him in a kneeling crossface. Henry then gets to the ropes for the final rope break as Deck then lands a vicious running knee into the ribs of old Henry. McCarthy has his opponent in the ropes and lets go, only to realize very quickly that Faust has burnt through all of his rope breaks. And really, there's no need to kind of like stop. It's fair game. And proceeds to kind of just hit kind of like forearm strikes across the face of Henry and just uses the ropes as leverage, in fairness. From there, we see Henry open hand chopping Deck, which may have been the loudest shot of the night. We then see him kicking Declan with his leg strikes, hits a Michinoku driver, gives some more stiff boots to the chest of McCarthy. The last attempt sees Deck grabbing the foot and hitting a big old power bomb. A double underhook sit down power bomb by McCarthy gets a 2 count. Deck then begins to throw more forearms into the face of Faust. But Henry still has control of his opponent as he holds his wrist, nails him in the side of the head, follows it up with a kick, which effectively feels like a KO blow, and that leads to him taking victory. Go on. Let's hear what our good friend John had to say on this one.
Great match, this, and a lot better than I expected it to go, considering the gimmick. But they did a pretty good job of keeping the crowd on track throughout about like what was at stake and who could do what when, and all the sort of technical stuff that goes into a pure rules match. And it really threaded the needle nicely between being this big semi-shoot showcase between two different types of tough semi-shoot guys, and keeping a lot of the ongoing subtext of Deck and Henry's feud going. The idea of like Deck is this somewhat insecure, jealous dickhead who wants all the career success and respect that Henry has, but is too much of a tryhard about it and constantly loses his head when things aren't going his way. He's a guy who puts up this facade of being a tough shoot bruiser that should be feared and respected, but constantly gets wound up by the easiest slights in the world, as Sam can very much attest to. Yeah, low-key think someone like McCarthy is probably one of the more compelling storyline character performances we've got around here these days, and I look forward to where he goes from here. And as for Henry, like, getting to experience his work the last couple of shows after hearing him be hyped up so highly by folks has been honestly a pleasure, and I hope he'll continue to be a regular fixture at Catch going forward.
Anyone want to come in on that match?
I'll jump in. I thought it was a sleeper match. It was like one of the matches you knew it was going to be good, but you didn't realize how good it was going to be. Like, this match is literally the definition of what Catch Pro Wrestling is all about. Just two phenomenal technical wrestlers just beating the living piss out of each other, working the rules really well, both breaking the rules at the start, going with a closed fists. I thought it told the story of Deck getting under the skin of Faust, but Faust was very, very resilient when fighting back against Declan. Declan wanted the win. You could see that he really, really wanted the win. He was pulling out all the stops to get Henry, but at the end, Henry just proved that he is pure rules. He is the better technical wrestler on the day, and he picked up a huge win. So hopefully from here, I saw this as a number one contenders match, even though it wasn't, but it felt like a number one contenders match. Despite Declan having a tough time in Catch. Same with Henry. They both had quite a tough run in Catch, but I feel like Faust is just going to go on from here, and I feel like he's got a title shot on the cards for him.
Sam?
Yes, so I really enjoyed this match, for obvious reasons, as you can tell, but what I liked is that they basically took Block A's storytelling and just condensed it down into one match, because for all the 'cause there was the cheating and the bending of the rules, like what Keenan had done. There was the superb technical wrestling and overpowering, like what Kev Lloyd does. There was the anger and the rage and the red boobs, like what Deck McCarthy does. And at the end of it, all it takes is the one clinical strike, and that's it. Because for all of Deck's, um, tricks, like Faust knew he just needed that one clear strike to turn the tide, and that's what he got. His kicks are deadly. Like, I don't think people appreciate and praise just how good Faust's kicks to the head are, because every time he just makes it look so much more impressive. And fair play to whoever he's facing for taking them, because it's mega every time. It's a highlight of any Faust match that I've seen. Um, so yeah, I agree with um Myles that it did sort of feel like whoever's going to win this is going to be in one of the divisions, maybe the world title division, because that's where all the Hoss wrestlers seem to be, while in the catch weight division, it seems to be where more of the high flying wrestlers tend to locate. So yeah, a really great match and a really great introduction to the pure rules stipulation.
This was one of the matches I was most looking for, or looking forward to, I should say, because I'm a big fan of McCarthy's style, big fan of Henry Faust. So kind of putting both men together was a no-brainer. Also throwing in having the pure rules, to which I do enjoy. I used to watch it a lot with Ring of Honor. Um, and again, it's been said elsewhere that there was a lot of creative stuff that went on in this match. The the moment where Deck grabs Faust's leg and kind of like puts it on the rope for him to burn one of his rope breaks is something I haven't seen on any kind of pure rules match, and really was something different compared to what you normally get in those. But it was a different match than we saw from everything else. I mean, you knew what you were getting with two people that hit hard and can very much take a hit back. I'm not upset about the result. We all like to see Deck get hit. Always great to see Henry. One of my my favourites. Always great when I see him at North. So seeing him coming down south, so to speak, which seems weird to say south being Manchester, but considering he's up in Newcastle, it is south. This was a really fun match. Kind of lived up to what I thought we were going to get. So again, really enjoyed it, and it did what it needed to do. We then move to the first of our title matches, as the Catch Women's Championship was on the line, as Lily Winter took on Lana Austin, accompanied by Ollie Barlow. So we start off with both women trading forearm shots. Lana hits a vicious running uppercut on Winter in the corner. Follows it with a running drop kick to a seated Lily Winter, who was sat on the mat. Austin then stomps Winter in the bottom corner, with Lily rallying and returns the favour, stomping Lana in the corner. She then hits a fall-away slam, followed by a gut-wrench suplex. Lily has Austin in trouble, but this is where we see the first sighting of Holly Barlow, who distracts the champion long enough to see Lana taking the legs away from Winter, who has a awkward fall onto the second turnbuckle and sees her having her head planted face first with a DDT. A big boot by, I think that's supposed to say Lily. It doesn't say Lily. But Lana throws Winter into the middle rope, bouncing face first, and again was a gnarly kind of like crash into him. Lana chokes the champ on the rope while also giving it out to the fans who are booing her. Holly slaps Lily while Winter is in the ropes. From there, we see Lana slapping Lily, and this is where kind of the champion wakes up as she hits a clothesline with a back suplex soon after. Double knees to the face from Lily Winter, followed by a back elbow to Holly Barlow, who jumps back up on the apron and then takes the blow. Lana catches Winter while on the turnbuckles and hits a big old powerbomb. However, in the end, it sees Lily Winter hitting the Deadeye for the victory. And at that time, at least, that was my match of the night. We'll see why it got picked a bit later on. Should we hear what our friend John said?
Go on then.
Yeah, very good match, even if it was slightly hampered initially in my mind by the build, where despite Lana obviously being pushed as the baddie throughout it, she was still very over with a sizable section of the crowd. But I think that's sort of the reality of Lana at this stage, that even though she is very good and compelling as a baddie and does her best to get over as a baddie, she's just been around for so long, and this Lally run she's been on with Holly has been so all over the country, that it's kind of impossible to get 100% of a room to go against her at this stage, despite, my own best efforts on that front. Thankfully, Lily is so beloved by the catch regulars at this stage that it didn't take that long for the dynamics to click and the match to deliver on its initial promise. And Lily getting a big decisive win over a big Northwest mainstay like Lana was really great to see, and continues her sort of ascendancy as one of the more underrated women in the scene today. And it surely can't be too long until she gets noticed by a bigger promotion like Eve or something like that for a spell down south or just more nationally. Also, want to make it clear that we did speak to Lana after the show, and I think we've come to a tentative truce of sorts. So, if she'd like my dancing, pointing, hype man services again, I'm happy to oblige. But only if Holly isn't there, because I feel like she's earned that role a lot more than I have. Even if I'm being honest, I'm probably a little better at it than her.
Big
John,
up, John.
obviously, being what's the term I'm thinking of? I can't think what the actual word is now. It'll come to me.
A mark.
You fucking mark!
There we go. Sam, we'll come to you.
Good, because I was gonna ask if I could go next. Yeah, to piggyback on what John said, there was in the room, the crowd was split. I think it's because one, when the heel turn sort of happened, at the Red Arch, it was a smaller venue, so there was less people, and I feel like a match coming up later on the card was really hyped for. So some people came just for that match because of its history. So many people might have not known that the Red Art shows were for free on YouTube. Go and check it out. Uh, Catch Pro Wrestling YouTube. They're real. You can watch all of the Red Arch episodes. Um, so yeah, but on the match itself, it was really fun because it felt like just a classic. Here's the bad guys, here's the good guy. You just get to have fun booing one and cheering for the other. Like, and it was just the vibes were just right for this match. Like, it didn't need to pull out like a spectacle like spot, like complex thing like that. Just needed to be a really entertaining match, and I think it did it really well, and it gets another really good title defense under the belt of Lily Winter.
Myles?
Yeah, I agree with John and Sammy. I thought it was a really good match, despite Lana being cheered as a heel, but we'll ignore that. We'll ignore that. I felt like the story of the match, it felt like Lana was trying to teach Lily a lesson despite Lily being the champion. And it was sort of felt like throughout majority of the match, it was Lana basically bullying Lily. Like the amount of slaps that she gave her and the disrespect that she gives to the champion. Like the pinfall where she's flexing on her. Like I felt like if Lana shown Lily some more respect within the match instead of showing off to certain sections of the crowd and Holly, I feel like she would have had more of a chance in winning the match. I felt like if Holly wasn't there as well, if it was just a straight singles match without the annoying little imp on the outside, I feel like Lana would have had a better chance in winning the title.
I was going to say, on the kind of going on what everyone else has mentioned about the crowd, I think when the match started, it felt a case of 50-50. And I feel by the end of it, both women had done everything possible to get the crowd fully behind Winter because there wasn't too many at all cheering for Lana come the end of that match. Everyone was massively right behind Lily. So they did that well. Kind of what you were saying about Lana bullying Winter. The build up for this has effectively been Lily wanting to, or Lily being excited to defend the title against someone she was trained by in Lana Austin, and Austin dismissing her, saying, You're not a good wrestler. You should have retired. You're not in my league." Uh, Pretty much just dismissing Winter when Austin can. So I think it was a case of Austin almost trying to embarrass Winter, just saying, "You may be champion, but I'm kind of like the teacher. I'm the main coach. I'm gonna out wrestle you. I'm gonna embarrass you, and I'll take the title also." Um, but what it did was show that Winter almost not just proving to Austin, but trying to prove to herself that I can do this. I'm better than you, and I'm damn well going to show you I am better than you, and you're going to respect me. Which is pretty much what we got at the end of it. But yeah, this was by far at this point in time my match of the evening at that point in time, as I've said. Shall we move on to the next match?
Go on then.
Go
Yeah.
on. So we have the GMAC #1 contendership match. Troy Ryan against Brady Phillips. Originally with Adam Bolt, but Adam Bolt got very quickly picked up and led away by Big T, who is the GMAC champion, who was originally going to be doing commentary and probably did commentary for about 15 seconds and then carried Bolt to the back and never returned.
No, he did.
Oh, not till later.
No, I mean he was on commentary for this match. He came
Was
back. He went back on stage about 5 seconds later. He did commentate this match.
Ah, why don't you see him come back out? Are you sure?
Yeah, I saw. Well, he's hard to miss. No offense to him, but the size of him.
I didn't even see him come back out. Shows I was too engrossed in the match, probably. So we have Brady looking to Pearl Harbor Ryan. Troy dodges this and then sees Troy hitting the pounce off the ropes on Phillips. Brady goes to hit a rebound lariat and is successful. Troy looks to hit a Hurricane Rana on Brady, who is on the top rope. At the time, we thought he'd completely kind of like miss or fluffed it a bit. Watching it back, it's actually Brady knocks Troy's feet away. So that's why he doesn't connect on the Hurricane Rana. We then see Phillips catching Troy, but Troy hits a reverse powerbomb attempt into a Hurricane Rana. Both men chop each other like they're tree trunks. Ryan tries to hit another Hurricane Rana when Phillips goes to hit a powerbomb, except this time Phillips actually is successful. Ryan then picks up Brady on his shoulders and hits a big facebuster. Phillips hotshots Troy and hits another bounce back lariat. Moments later, we see Troy doing the exact same as he then, after hitting a lariat, hits a fall of Troy to win the match. After the match, we have Big T coming back out and says he doesn't feel like there's another run in this bus anymore. The injuries made him think maybe it's not worth coming back, as his match with intent against Sam Bailey. He said he didn't enjoy how he looked, how he wrestled. Pretty negative on himself, and said because of all that, I'm going to crown Troy Ryan as the new GMAT champion because he is far more deserving of it. So title gets handed to Troy Ryan. Crowd chant "Thank you, T." Fair enough. Thank you for that. So we have Troy then getting the title, cuts a promo, basically saying how they've been friends for years and years. They're really good friends. But he doesn't feel right taking the title in this kind of manner, and says he wants Big T to get back fit and healthy and do it the old-fashioned way, and that is actually beat the man for the title. Big T still does not want any part of this. hands him back the title. And while Troy puts the microphone down, T looks at the title and you see a sudden change come over him and then hits the end of the line on Troy Ryan, effectively turning on his best friend or one of his best friends. Big T then gets the microphone and says he gave Troy the easy option, and then goes on to say the reason catch has got so big and why they're in venues like this. Is he messaging?
Nope.
I just heard some notifications going off, so I thought it was him. And effectively says to him, "You say you want one more run out of me. I will get one more. You'll get one more run out of me." But says that because you haven't done it the easy way, what you have effectively just done, waiting for me to get back, is the biggest mistake of your fucking career. And with that, we now go to John and hear what he has to say.
Again, another very good match. Always nice to see my good pal, my best friend, Brady Phillips, and have a quick friendly chat before the match. It is a shame he definitely tripped and fell off that chair by complete and total accident, but I won't hold that against him. Things like this happen sometimes. And, I know he seems quite aggressive, but he loves me, really. Because he wouldn't keep finding me for a chat before these matches if he didn't, would he? Nah, he wouldn't. But yeah, we already know from previous experience between these two that these two know how to have this proper big man match, and they delivered again here. Troy has come on massively as a proper main event star player in the last few months, and he's proved it once again here with a great foil like Brady. The post-match, I kind of already clocked a turn for T a while back with his more aggressive, sort of violent promos and match styles over the last few shows in the matches with like Kev and Sam Bailey. So him finally turning is good stuff, and it was pulled off really well. So a proper big boy main event in the cards for the future. So very exciting stuff.
Anyone want to come in?
Yeah, I thought it felt like a spotlight for Troy. Brady, being the veteran that he is, pulling out all the stops to try stop Troy winning this match. It felt like a proper big meaty match as you expect from Troy and Brady. I feel like Troy in the past couple of months in Catch Pro Wrestling, it feels like he's ready for the main event.
Yeah.
The fact that he made Brady Phillips look like an easy match. It looked like throughout the whole match, Troy was in cruise control. He did not break a sweat, which is incredible. The fact that he managed to put away Brady Phillips with ease. Yeah, throughout the match, Troy did take a beating, but he just fired back. He just looked like the Incredible Hulk. He was just from minute one, he was just fired up. The pounce that he literally took Brady almost out of the ring. That pounce was insane.
Sam?
Yeah, this match was the epitome of big meaty men slapping meat, which I always love. Troy coming out on his birthday and delivering a great performance, as he always does. And Brady, really good at, being a shithouse, as he's known lovingly by the Catch fans.
Brady motherfucking shithouse Phillips.
Yeah, to give him his
His
church
full
name.
title.
And yeah, the ending, which So, which people say was like, a bit predictable, but personally, there was still doubt in my mind,
Hmm.
mainly because Big T has really endeared himself to the catch audience. So it did make me think, are they really going to turn him? Uh, but yeah, but I think it were pretty justified because imagine you get someone a birthday gift and then they reject it. Like, what you
Keep the
doing,
receipt.
surely? Yeah. So if I was in Big T's shoes, I'd be pretty offended that he refused the birthday gift. So, uh, yeah, this is the one of the other matches where I felt this could have made
Hmm.
because this was it's basically the two people in catch with the best win-loss records just going up against each other. Finally, in a one-on-one match, after all this ducking and diving and other people like Riley Nova and Adam Bolt getting involved, finally, this is the moment where they can just have a one-on-one match, put it to bed. Whoever's the better man is the better man. And all the while, they're fighting to try and get uh, the GMAC Championship, what many people consider the top prize in the promotion. So it was just a great match all around, and props to both guys.
I was going to say the whole build up, if you actually look to this show, take away the Enigma series, the biggest build up really was Troy and Brady, if you look at it. Uh,
Could this have
Yeah.
been building up, you could argue, since Troy debuted
hmm,
in Catch in 2025, since the return, because it in just a short amount of time, Troy has built himself, and him and Brady Phillips has sort of been in and out of each other's, lives. And then you go back to Hostile, where this sort of were like where formally, you know, shut off with Troy winning that. So yeah, you could argue this match has been built up for the best half of the year.
yeah, because it's interesting. If you go back to January with Intent, uh, the same two men fought in. I think that was. It wasn't a number one contenders match, but it was almost like who felt like it was going to be challenging for the GMAC. On that occasion, it saw Phillips win with some skullduggery, it has to be said. On this occasion, though, it saw Ryan picking up the victory. Uh, and in a way, it was a nice way to kind of finish things off, um, especially as you could say, other than uh, the hostile tournament, which I didn't get to, unfortunately. Um, but from with intent to where we are now, it's been a nice little kind of running storyline that ran through those Enigma series shows. And again, it made this particular bout feel like more of a main event than anything else that was on the actual card. Which is something that Catch have done really well. It's not just build just to a title. Near enough every match on this card, there was some build, be it small or very kind of like long storytelling. But that's one of the good things about Catch.
I will say, just to add onto the end of this, if you include the tag match at the Red Art shows, and if you
Mm.
include the four-way corners survival match, it's currently two apiece to Phillips and Troy. So there is a little bit of unfinished business between the two over who wins the rubber match at the end of it. But if you don't include them, it's still 1-1. So either way,
Yeah.
whether
It's
it's one-on-one singles match or just matches in general, they're tied. So there's going to be a rubber match down the road, and I can't wait for that.
that there is more meat on this bone, quite literally, especially if it's Troy and meat is involved. We then come to our penultimate match of the night. As for the catch weight title, the champion Scott Oberman defends his title against Manchester's own Luke Jacobs. Fuck me, this was a cracker. And too many notes. So Jacobs has the brighter of this contest. Oberman looks to try and get into the contest by hitting a cross body. Unfortunately for him, Luke catches him and slams him straight down to the mat, hitting a standing senton splash. He then hits some chops in the corner, followed by a double underhook suplex. From there, Oberman gets a bit of offense in, hitting his now trademark bounce into the ropes. Unfortunately for him, his posing did him no good and saw him chopping Scott out of the ring. From there, Jacobs takes a page out of the Trent Seven book of chopping a ring post, as his hand absolutely rang off that ring post when he done the chop. The challenger remains in charge for quite a fair bit in this contest, stomping the hamstrings of the champion. However, Scott fights back, hitting a crossbody from the top rope to the outside on Jacobs, as neither man came off this very well. Scott seemed to just splat off the concrete while Luke smashed the back of his head off the railing. From there, we have a double underhook suplex again from the top by Luke Jacobs. Then follows it with a suplex into the corner, a standing front face buster, and then we begin to see Oberman come back and channeling his Northwest Strong roots with a Teddy Ray bite of the challenger, and also included some technical moves, which is very much like Chris Ridgway. A mid-air collision followed by double clotheslines sees both men at this point kind of fighting on empty, it felt like. And then we have a big spear from Oberman. Goes to hit a second to try and finish the match off, but runs right into the ring post, shoulder first. Jacobs hits a spine buster and then adds a figure four and has the champion very close to tapping out. Near falls for both men as Oberman hits another spear. Jacobs hits a pop-up powerbomb and then soon follows that with a Styles clash, which came completely out of nowhere. Scott hits a lariat. Jacobs lands a tombstone on the apron on the outside. He then follows this up with a diving headbutt from the top rope. Oberman hits a Ride the Lightning from the top, but gets him a 2 count. Jacob hits a lariat and then performs stomps to the chest and neck, pretty much kind of what Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, depending what you want to call him, as he holds the arms, stretching them out and just pounding mercifully on his opponent. a stunner from Oberman, and then finally hits the spirit of the Blues to put this bout to bed and wins an absolutely epic title match. Yeah, let's hear what John thinks on this particular one.
Incredible match. I've rarely been in the room for a match that felt this big and epic, and it was incredible to experience. Especially as probably the only person on planet Earth who genuinely, earnestly likes and respects Scott Oberman. And it was a joy to watch what was easily the best match I've ever seen from him, going toe-to-toe with one of the country's best in Lou Jacobs, and proving that he belongs in that same tier of nationwide talents. The fact he's not already become a mainstay of your Progresses or your Rev Pros is honestly beyond me, and I'm sure this match will have pushed him to that level of exposure. It helped that the match massively, that we did manage to get a solid split in the room between support for Luke and support for Scott, so it felt properly compelling to watch, to the point that I ended up pretty much knocking myself out of the main event because I was going so hard for Scott. Yeah, easy match of the year contender, absolute must watch for everyone. Even if you don't watch Catch regularly, as soon as this is up, seek it out. Incredible stuff.
Can't disagree with that. I've got it as my match of the year so far.
And so have I.
By a country mile.
I think that's unanimous across the four of us. Yeah.
I think anyone that was there that night, I think everyone has come away. Even people that hate Oberman and do not rate him at all came out and saw him differently. The point that they made on that particular podcast was Oberman's style is normally very slow and methodical. In this match, it was pretty much all action from like the first bell, and it did not feel like an Oberman match at all. It was very kind of fast, not fast paced, but it was quicker paced than his normal matches. And I think if this is how Oberman's going to kind of have matches of this kind of like elk, it's definitely going to have more people look at it. Because if he performs like this at every show, it's going to be very difficult not to have him on like a higher platform. Which one of you want to come in on this?
I'll jump in. Jesus Christ, this match. Just from like the first minute of the match, where they're just like trading like punches, the crowd just popped off straight away. The amount of like high moves that got pulled off in this match. When Luke Jacobs hit that Styles Clash, the whole room just lost their shit.
Yeah.
It just come out of nowhere. Like, even with like Jacobs hitting like a cutter in like just in the middle of the ring, looked like he had Jacobs beat. That come out of nowhere. Oberman going to the top rope on multiple occasions. Same with Jacobs. Just it was the perfect match between, in my opinion, the two standout wrestlers in the UK at the minute. And if nobody says Scott Oberman deserves to be up there, you are completely wrong. The guy is a superstar.
Yeah.
He just makes it look so effortless. Like, he is the perfect wrestler. If you want to get into wrestling, just look at Scott Oberman. He just has the aura. He has the moveset. He has everything going for him. He's just incredible. Same goes for Luke. The whole story of the match, it was two former friends that know each other so well that they've had to adapt and come up with different moves. Who the fuck thought Luke Jacobs would be hitting a Styles Clash? Nobody fucking saw it coming. The fact that he's just casually gone out on a bank holiday Monday and thought, fuck it, I'm hitting a Styles Clash. Absolutely bonkers. It's just, yeah, it was mind blowing. As John said, just if you don't watch Catch, just watch this match. You'll be hooked.
Yeah. It's a good introduction if you've never seen Catch. It's a good starting point to watch it from.
Yeah, I have to agree. This was amazing from beginning to end. This was my introduction to Luke Jacobs. I had never seen him before, so this being my first impression, it's just like you couldn't ask for a better one, could you? It was it kept everyone glued to it. I think there was a point where people stopped like, the back and forth cheering because everyone were just
Yeah.
centered on what was going on. They like took everyone's breaths and everyone would just laser focus, especially towards the end. Um, I will say, because I'm not versed in like all the history, I maybe missed some references, but I do like how Northwest Strong members were referenced. Like you had I think Oberman doing the 2-bit
The
arm
bite.
by, and then um, later on they locked in a Ridgeway figure four, and I I'm not that familiar with the other members. I don't think there was a Death Valley driver for Keenan, but if you watch it back, I'm sure they threw in little references to the rest of the members if they threw two big ones there. Um, I just wow. Just this was another match where I think this could have made like literally what I meant half the card where it's just like anything could go on last and it would be justified because of how good the show was. Everyone just thought, to give it their best. And it's just impressive considering when I joined wrestling, I saw Scott Oman on the first card I went to, and he was just a guy in the middle of the card that someone was shouting MCR jokes at because he's got really long hair, like emo hairstyle. And so in a year and a half, just like following his career, I have thought for like the best half of a year now, he is a hot commodity, and eventually someone's going to snap him up because he is just a born entertainer.
I think what we can say about the match, I think it does deserve one of these. So, and one thing I will finish off on this, Oberman's victory means he has beat every member of Northwest Strong now. So he has done the Thanos.
He is Northwest Scott.
Yeah. He has it now.
He's done the Thanos. He's completed them all. He's collected them all one by one.
He's gonna snap his fingers and like Teddy Ray's just gonna disappear.
That's why 2-bit disappeared.
That's where you went to.
Yeah. And then we came to our main event of Gimme Danger, which was the dog collar match between Aiton Steen and Ian Skinner. Right. Let's have a look at the notes. We start with Skinner hiding the fact that his chain was not attached to the dog collar, obviously, because it's Skinner, and Skinner does not play by the rules. To which he proceeds to just beat down Aiton Steen. We'll touch on a few things at the end of this. So we see Steen hitting a running drop kick in the corner. then has Skinner going to the outside, pulling the chain, which leads to Steen going face first into the ropes. Aiton hits a whisper in, I think it's whisper in the wind on Skinner. Steen goes to hit a springboard attack, but Skinner uses the chain to whack Steen almost in the face while he's in midair. Then we come to a gnarly spot as Ian pulls out some pliers. You may want to whiz it on for about 5 seconds at this point, as Skinner takes those pliers and rips off his fingernails, to which he has posted the evidence of this. And rather you than me, Steen, I wouldn't do that. From there, we get Skinner going for skewers, but he's stopped from using them as Aiton kicks him in the head. From there, the fight goes to the outside, where Steen leaps off the top rope and down onto Skinner. Steen then gets the same skewers that Skinner had and tries to put them into the head of his opponent, but Skinner low blows him as a last second or last ditch attempt to avoid it. He doesn't, and Steen proceeds to drive the skewers into the head. None of them particularly stick into Skinner. From there, Ian chokes his opponent, but sees Steen fighting it out, and at this point has Skinner pulling the chain to trip up Greenwood, who stays down for a couple of minutes. So Steen goes to grab Skinner. Ian low blows again for the second time, which effectively has been Skinner for most of this feud, really, just low blowing. We then see a rock bottom by Ian. Steen then grabs a padlock from under the ring, attaches it to the collar of Skinner, and then gets the chain and attaches it to that, putting a combination lock on it so Skinner cannot take the chain off. The two trade slaps and forearms before a boot from Ian, and has Steen knocking Skinner down, who kips up and hits his lariat. From there, Steen goes back with a kick again. I don't know what that's saying. Then we move a bit forward, and then we see an awkward fall where either they're attempting to do a Spanish fly or a Canadian destroyer from the top. Does not go to plan, unfortunately. Steen does hit a Canadian destroyer soon after. Uses skewers. Skinner then uses skewers on Steen, and then we have Steen, who is still hell bent on overpowering anything that's coming at him, be it skewers, low blows, anything. He fights through, chokes Ian to get the win with a bulldog choke-like maneuver. Steen is your winner of the contest. Meanwhile, after the match, we see Ian being helped out as he does not look, as he looked quite worse for wear, which thankfully he managed to leave on his own power. I'm quite interested to hear what John said about this one, so we will ask John.
So yeah, as alluded to earlier, I'd more or less knocked myself out of this match, and I honestly think I wasn't the only one, because despite the best efforts of both men and the massive amount of hype and build surrounding it, I feel like this didn't quite get the reception it needed or it deserved. I think part of it is, I suppose, just the nature of a violent stipulation match like this, where a lot of it is just building towards spots. And while there were plenty of nasty spots throughout, it can take you out of the experience a little bit if you're mostly just waiting for a particular weapon to come out or a particular spot to be pulled. Better placement on the card might have helped, especially when it became clear close to the show that Jacobs and Oldman was becoming the bigger match for a lot of the folks in the room. But I suppose they've been building this match for like 4 months, so it couldn't really be anything other than the main event. So, good stuff for what it was, though, and absolute credit to both Aiton and Ian for going through it. But I don't know, just didn't land perfectly for me. Although, again, take that with a grain of salt, because I might not have been fully into the match to begin with.
Sam, we'll come to you first.
I disagree with John. I felt like this match delivered what it set out to do, because all of the Red Arch, these two had been just brawling and getting under each other's skin and basically just trying to get one up on each other. And that's what you got in this match. You had a lot of back and forth brawling. You had gnarly spots, yes, but between it all, you got a story of two people who just hated each other so much so that they're literally willing to risk their safety in order to hurt each other. Because if you watched my video before this came out, this card, they have been building this match for a year to near enough the date. The 2025 Enigma series was what kicked things off when Skinner interfered on Steen's match and nearly, costed the whole series for Ridgeway. They have been building Skinner taking shortcuts for a whole year, and finally they paid it off with a stipulation where even though we thought it was impossible for him to take shortcuts and cheat, he still managed to do because of how resourceful he is. So I have to disagree with John on that one because there was a lot of story with inside the match about these guys' history in catch and their personalities that they've shown throughout this time. Because I think this lived up to what it was, because if we would have just gotten here's a weapon, we're going to use that now. Here's another weapon, we're going to use that now. But we didn't get that. We got so much creativity throughout it with using the ropes, with using the actual collars, the chain, with using the ref. There was a lot more to it than just we'll grab a weapon and then hit it. So yeah, I disagree with John on that point. I thought that this lived up to being the main event and that it earned its spot.
Myles?
I'll agree with both John and Sam. I feel like the placement of it being main event, it did sort of hamper it a little bit, but it lived up to what they've been building for months and months. So yes, it deserves to be main event, but because Oberman and Jacobs delivered that highly.
I do think also because Jacobs has only been in catch once before this, and that was the first show.
Yeah.
I do think that even though it was a 5 out of 5 like amazing clash, for catch, this deserved to be major because it's more important to Catch's history.
Yeah, there was a lot of storytelling in this match. It was not just your traditional violent match. It was these two guys really hate each other, so they will literally do anything. Skinner breaking the rules even in a violent match. Like, how low can you get? The fact that he's even broke the rules in this type of match is crazy. But yeah, I thought it was a really well well done match. Few spots in it didn't seem to go out as expected because of the chain, but things happen.
Yeah, I, I left thinking it was a really good match. Watching it back, and the overall feeling I have of it, it's kind of downgraded, I feel. But like others have said, both of them put a shift in, and you kind of have to in a match like this. But I feel a lot went against both of them in this match, which was not mostly down to them. So you had the chain pretty much from like the first minute snapping, and then they had to be resourceful and find a way to put the chain on steam. Um, then at times the chain proved a bit kind of cumbersome and just got in the way at times. The skewers on Skinner did not work at all. Practically all fell out. Um, it's a thing of as much as they got right, equally there was a lot that didn't work as well. Uh, Plus, as well, you got the whole Oberman and Jacobs match had been on before, and I think Noma, even if they'd had everything went perfect, I think it still would not have kind of felt a good match because of what we had just seen. So they were kind of hampered by that. Um, and then we have the final spot where whatever they were attempting did not go to plan. Uh, Skinner seemingly coming down on his head. Well, not seemingly did he did come down on his head. Um, it's it, it's a thing of trying to be positive on things, which I try to be. Um, but I find myself not being as positive as I was on the actual evening. Um, Again, there's not a whole lot you can do if things just go against you. Um, but you know, bless them for trying. They did everything they could. The build up, as I think, as we've said, of which match goes last. I think you had to have this as your main event because it's been the longest build. Everything's been set around this. All the Enigma series shows were effectively set around this match. Um, but it's again, it's one of those things where sometimes just things do not go to plan. Um, Not anyone's fault. It just did did not hit for me, which is a shame because Steen and Skinner are both two really good wrestlers. Uh, Arguably, you could say they tried to do a bit too much, but then again, it's a bit of a blood feud. So yeah, it kind of watching it again. It's just a bit deflating, which isn't the most positive thing from me to say. But if I'm being honest, um, it's probably the only match on the entire card I'm pretty down on. Um, but yeah, that's life. Not everything's going to stick, but hey ho. Uh, Saying that though, what's your overall being as brief as we can, what's your overall feeling of the show from top to bottom?
I thought it was the best show I've been to this year. Every match seemed to hit, for me anyway. The main event, okay, yeah, it had issues, but it still got, this crowd was still hyped up for it, even though we had Jacobs and Oberman just before the crowd. Yes, it went a little bit flat towards the end, but the crowd was still pumped up for it. It was a really solid match. Both guys giving it all, despite issues. It was violent. It was what was advertised. I thought the whole show just ran smoothly. No technical issues. Really good wrestling. Really good storytelling. Just the crowd was red hot from minute one to the end. I felt pound for pound one of the best indie shows I've been to since I started watching wrestling.
Sam, in being brief?
Yeah, I have to say that was a 10 out of 10 cards. 1 5 out of 5, 3 4.5 out of 5s, and all the rest of the card 4 out of 5. Just everyone works so hard considering the heat, and yeah, this is definitely up there in cards that I've seen. It's currently fighting between two other shows, but I might go into that topic over on Ramblin about my favorite shows that I've been to personally.
What would you give it, Meltzer?
I give it a 10. It felt like the perfect show. I really, really enjoyed it. I was hyped before the show even started, even with turning up late. It was, yeah, an incredible show.
I'd probably give it. Are we doing it in 5 stars or 10?
10.
Out of 10? I'll probably give it 9.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
think
fair enough.
I think that last match, just kind of. I was gonna go 8.5, but I think if I'm looking back at everything, one match out of the entire card, I can live without it. So I wouldn't give it a 9.5, which is the most I'll ever give for a top show. Because I don't think you can have a 10 out of 10 show. But I'll give it a 9. So that's the best you're gonna get out of me on that.
Does John have a rating?
John, do you have a rating that you'd like to pass on?
Goodbye.
No, he doesn't. And it was nice to have you on, John. Nice to have you on.
Goodbye.
Okay, we know you told us already. But before we go, because it's past midnight and I am up in 5 in the morning, has anyone got anything they would like to plug very quickly?
Yes, please go and check out Ramblin' About Wrestling. Me and Jackie Benno have just posted a review of this show where I go a bit more in depth and educate Jack on what's been going on at the Red Art shows. And Jack has also posted his predictions for the Queen and King of the Ring this year. So yeah. Hopefully getting more regular uploads soon with stuff in the pipeline, so stay tuned and stay rambling.
Myles.
Yeah, just get Catch Pro's Patreon. It's got some exclusive shows on the Patreon that you can't watch anywhere else. So there's quite a few old shows on there. So if you want to get up to date with Catch Pro, get the Patreon. And always whenever tickets go on sale, just grab a ticket to one of these shows. You won't be disappointed.
There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna say Brothers Grappers on Instagram. I am also on Blue Sky. I am on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. If you want to leave any posts, messages, ratings, whatever on the podcast, please do. It'd be very nice to hear any feedback from people. Even though I feel we might get some negative feedback from Gen 1 from our earlier podcast. But for now at least, my thanks to Sam and Myles. Always fun to have you both on. But for now, this is Petter Brothers signing out because I need to go to bed. It's been a long recording evening. I will be there at Salford. If not, some of us will be there at Future Shop on Sunday at Fairfield Social Club for the big breakfast. And also some of us are going to Progress, which should be fun. But yes, for now at least, thank you for listening or watching, and we will see you on the next